You got this house for 120 grand. There's an $80,000 spread. Okay, you need to go out there and say, based on a reasonable rehab range, this is what I believe you are going to put into this. This is what I think the profit margin is going to be. It is not your job to determine for the investor what they're going to sell the property for. You see what I'm saying? It is not your job to determine ultimately what the level of rehab they're going to get.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
Turn it up.
Welcome to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast.
The tides are turning. The time is now.
Your home for the mindset, methodology, and tools needed to invest in foreclosures.
Don't you dare buy a house. Buy a deal. You need to get into this right now.
Yeah. And now your host, the Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donny Corum.
Hello and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donny Corum, broadcasting from our downtown Denver studios with my executive producer, Mr. Jonathan Winston. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Winston. It still bugs me that they applaud for you and they're like,
I don't know what's up with them, man. I know that you're the Foreclosure Deals Coach. I'm like, guys, he's the one that needs a round of applause.
Yet you're the star. It's frustrating to me. I'm going to live with that, though, and we're going to move it. What's going on, man? How's life? How's things?
It's good, man. It's real good. I've making my way through this book in addition to a couple others that I've been reading. The Art of Wholesaling Properties, How to Buy and Sell Real Estate Without Cash or Credit.
That's awesome. Who wrote that?
It's by Aram Shah and Alex Varelis.
Okay.
But it's pretty good, man. I'm really enjoying just the content. It's like we talk about on the show a lot. There's a lot of free information that you can get on there on YouTube and just different avenues. So a lot of what's going on in this book is just kind of, rehashing or just, repurposing of some of the similar information.
Yes.
But it is just really good to kind of, continue to consume it and, kind of beat it into your brain once you're starting out.
Absolutely.
And kind of growing.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you that, most of real estate is repetitive. Like there hasn't been that much in the line of innovation in real estate in years, to be honest with you. We were talking about no money down real estate with Carlton Sheets way back in the 80s. Now wholesaling is kind of a byproduct of that. And I guess, to your point, man, like nothing really has changed all that severely. It's all kind of the same stuff. Sometimes, though, the information resonates with you differently depending on the author. So, if you're in a spot right now where you're not sure what to do, that might be it. Like there's a good shot that you got to hear it from a different artist, a different author before you're really going to hit home. So good for you for expanding that. Hey, this show is brought to you by dealhunter.io, where you can locate and download the web-based application PropStream. You can also get the mobile app. And listen to me, guys. If you're going to take this investor thing seriously, okay? If you're going to go from a hobbyist that listens to my crazy voice every week, and again, thank you to all of you wonderful listeners out there, but if you're going to cross over and actually making money doing real estate, you're going to need the right tools, and the dealhunter.io application is a mission-critical app that we use each and every single day in our real estate business to locate the best deals in the market, to fund those deals, because you can find cash buyers and private investors on the PropStream application, to fix them, believe it or not, because you can see what other people have done in that exact market.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then build your property, and of course, then to flip it by getting the exact pricing that you need to make an effective flip and not price it above or below market. So if you're going to do this for real, you need to stop what you're doing right this moment. And I mean this sincerely. I want you to quit what you're doing and head out to dealhunter.io.
You heard the man.
Get your free 7-day trial, and then join the Deal Hunter group at Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders, right? We're going to have the link right here in this podcast episode. You can join up with the group, absolutely free to join the group. Think about it. A Deal Hunter is basically PropStream with added educational resources, one-on-one training, group training, and the ability to take this incredible tool that will change your life if you'll just use it and learn how to use it. So you take PropStream, you add education resources, you get dealhunter.io, and I insist you stop what you're doing, head on out to dealhunter.io and get your free 7-day trial of that, and of course, join the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders group. Okay, all of that being said, let's get to the show today. Did I say dealhunter.io already?
Dealhunter.io.
Yeah, did I say that?
What was it again?
Dealhunter.io.
Okay, yeah, I think you
so.
said
We're good there. All right, let's get to the show. We're going to post this article, and you guys you're going to love this one. This is a good one because the title from Bloomberg.com. Okay, a very large news organization is reporting that real estate investors skip paying loans while raising billions.
With a B.
With a B. Okay. Now, here's the thing. He goes on in the article to mention, John Gittleson, the author, goes on to mention that the large-scale real estate firms, hedge funds, if you will, including Starwood Capital Group, Colony Capital, Blackstone Group. And listen, you guys, depending on where you're at in your real estate career, you may never have heard these names, but these guys are the major players in real estate finance. Like just huge billion-dollar funds who buy large commercial capital. I've been in this game a long time. You can't really have played at the level that I've been playing out without having come across a Starwood Capital Group deal or a Colony Capital Group deal. These guys are huge, okay? But they're reporting that they are now not making their payments on these large-scale commercial properties so they can save that capital because suddenly they're not making these massive, and I want you to think massive payments. Like a lot of guys try to get by on their $1,500, $1,800 mortgage payment. Right. These guys are looking at a $3 million mortgage payment on a $100 million building or something along that lines, right? This is their normal, but they've stopped making the payments. And they're citing coronavirus woes, but I think we need to be honest and say that these guys know smart money when they see it, and at this point, it's not in the bank's best interest to foreclose on them either. So they're pocketing this cash, right? And they're taking the money and using it to poise for opportunities to buy in the market later as things get cheaper.
Man, that almost sounds like you shouldn't be able to do something like that.
It doesn't even sound legal, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
It's against the rules. However, big money doesn't play by rules, okay? And the problem is y'all want to play by rules because that's what we were told. You got to watch your FICO score, right? You've got to watch all these infrastructure. The fact of the matter is wholesaling, they never even look at your FICO score. You're controlling real estate. You're selling real estate, usually without even owning it, and not one person to check your FICO score. So is that accurate? No.
Seem that way.
See, everything you thought you knew about finance has changed or never was to begin with, okay? And the reason I know that to be fact, because unless you're independently wealthy, you are currently playing by the wrong set of rules, okay? And these guys play by their own rules in general, okay, and as a result, they are now in a position where they're not making their payments, taking advantage of the current coronavirus situation to raise their cash reserves so they can go out and buy properties that are about to go severely down in value while telling the lenders who back their plays, sorry, man, we'll pay you when we can if we want to. Right? That's real world, okay? And you need to read this article, you need to understand. And they go on to say that Colony stopped making payments on many of its hotel bonds, right, while then focusing on digital real estate strategy. Check this out. They're buying up cell towers, data centers, and network infrastructure.
Wow, with all this new 5G stuff, that's a pretty big play right there.
Absolutely. So get out in front of the real estate. Don't be behind in the retail segment. People who are buying at top of market right now in retail, who are not buying a deal, a very requirement of being a listener to this show is that you're out there looking for a deal. Those who are not doing that are well behind. These guys are defaulting on their commercial loans and focusing their attention on buying digital real estate assets. Okay, do you think the smart money should be followed, or you should figure this out with the strategy your mom and dad used to buy a property and live there 30 years? Do I really need to answer that question?
You really don't.
Okay, you need to be out in front. And if you're not reading the news, you should at least be checking out the show.
Come on, you're here right now.
Right, you're here now. Find out what's going on and get out in front of it, because I'm telling you, it is changing right before our very eyes, and you got to get out in front of it if you want to be a part of it. All right, with that, let's get into the meat of the show today. We're going to discuss the wholesaling aspect, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper and discuss the part that most wholesalers don't want to, which is the rehab budget. It's spooky.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because when you're going your wholesale deals, let's put some numbers in place, because I know you guys are numbers guys. We're getting a $200,000 property. We're getting it on a wholesale deal from a motivated seller. Note, I did not say seller. I said motivated seller. That's so important. Your business is motivated sellers at wholesaling, and you've got it under contract now for $120,000. So far, we got ourselves an $80,000 spread. This could be a pretty good deal, but what's it going to cost to fix it? And this is right where you wholesalers start to fall apart a little bit for me, okay? Because you go in there, you're starting to throw these theories, oh, we can get it fixed up for $5,000, bro. Like, I'm just gonna paint it, like, and et cetera. You can't start a rehab for $5,000.
$500, man, nothing, man. It's
no problem at all.
A couple Band-Aids, wall patch, sheetrock.
Gonna be fine. But on the flip side of that, right? Some of you guys talk yourself out of a deal because you're going off your personal emotions, and you look at the deal and you go, this is going to cost me at least $50,000 to fix up, right? So I can't get this deal done, and you're walking away from what could be a deal. So what is the number to figure out for what a rehab is going to cost? And here's the answer. You're going to hate me for this, okay? It depends.
Come on now.
It depends. And the harsh reality is it depends on what the market requires to get that in a retail condition. And if you don't know what that is because you're guessing right now, you have to have a tool like dealhunter.io to be able to look at the retail comps in the neighborhood and see what people are rehabbing to and what prices they're getting based on that rehab. Okay, so you absolutely must have a tool to do that. Otherwise, you're completely theoretical. Unfortunately, that's just the beginning of the problem, right? Now you got to figure out what that's going to cost. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't get a degree in construction. I'm not that effective at construction estimation, and most of my early years of rehabbing, I was getting that really, really, really wrong.
Hi, this is Donny, your foreclosure deals coach. It's important to have good credit when you're buying a foreclosure. A lot of people think you can come in with bad credit, but the fact of the matter is you need pretty stable credit scores to buy a foreclosure deal. So how do you find out how to increase your credit? Well, there's tons of credit repair agencies out there and multiple formulas, but one thing we found that works is reporting your monthly rental payments to the credit bureau. We partnered with rentreporters.com, the leading provider of adding your payment history direct from your landlord onto your credit bureau scores, and it helping people to boost their scores up to 40 points in as little as 30 days. So to get started, I want you to head on out to www.foreclosuredealscoach.com. Now that's a messenger bot, and you're going to use the keyword rent to get more information about Rent Reporters and how you can boost your credit score by getting your rental reported to the credit bureaus. Once again, Donny Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Check it out.
And my mentor would tell me every time, Donny, I know you think you can get this done for $15,000, but this is actually a $25,000 rehab, and sometimes that would turn into a $30,000 rehab, and sometimes I considered changing careers into maybe selling myself on the corner, will work for rehab funds.
Don't do it, Donny, no.
So how do you determine it? Well, you don't need to, okay? When you are pitching you got this house for 120 grand, there's an $80,000 spread, okay? You need to go out there and say, based on a reasonable rehab range, this is what I believe you are going to put into this. This is what I think the profit margin is going to be. It is not your job to determine for the investor what they're going to sell the property for. You see what I'm saying? It is not your job to determine ultimately what the level of rehab they're going to get. And I want to tell you a story because very recently we're working on a townhouse deal here in Aurora, Colorado, just up the street from our downtown location here. And we decided we were going to purchase the property, and before I bought it from a wholesaler, actually, ironically, wholesaler we had on this show, Derek Medina.
Hey, my guy.
Yeah, man. So bought this property from him, and we were multiple ways we could have rehabbed. I'm looking at all the comps, comparable sales on PropStream from dealhunter.io, and I'm seeing this huge range of people who have sold this condo in original condition and gotten pretty close to what I need to get out of the property, right? And then I'm seeing other people who did balls to the wall, high-end remodels on these properties who are getting much higher numbers than I even wanted to aim for, but it became feasible if I was willing to do that level of work, right? So what I decided based on what the market was doing that we were going to sell this thing pretty close to as is. I got to be honest with you, it's not that I'm lazy. I'm partial to doing as little as possible to get the most return possible. It's kind of my thing.
Wait a minute, that's not lazy?
I don't care. Anyway.
Splitting hairs, you know.
Maybe. I don't know. In the real estate investing world, it's smart because you should be looking to do the most profit for the minimum amount of effort, right? Every successful business out there has figured out how to take the high effort things and remove those inefficiencies so they become much easier to do, right? And if you think about it, every successful product, right? Look at the likes of Netflix, right? Who has taken binge watching, which was a difficult process before, right? You had to go buy the DVD set. Y'all remember DVDs? They're the little discs. I'm not going down that road with you. Forget it. Never mind. Okay. They took that binge watching process, right? Remember Redbox for that short stint there where you had to go to the little kiosk and go rent? And those guys were looking at Blockbuster and going, man, we killed your inefficiencies, dog. Like, you guys are done. Right? And then Netflix went and go, ooh, I wouldn't celebrate too early, man.
Hey, man, we just came up with this great idea.
First, they started mailing out discs. Do you remember that? You had a subscription service where you got a DVD, and then you sent it back. And then very shortly, they killed the mail-out thing and went directly to, we'll just stream it to you digitally. And now they've taken over the world. Right? And shout out real quick to my girl, Bozma Arthur. I went to high school with Bozma Arthur. Bozma is the chief marketing officer of Netflix, and she's got an incredible career.
Incredible. Wow.
Chief marketing officer at Apple for a while, CMO at Uber for a short stint, and now she's chief marketing officer of Netflix. Just incredibly proud of what she's accomplished. That's a huge segue. Let's get back on track here. But my point in all of this is you're going to revolutionize your business here by cutting out the inefficiencies. So you're figuring out what's the least I can do this property to make it profitable. And if you're a wholesaler, you want to present that to the investor as there's a range of things you could do to this property to get to retail. Some are completely necessary, some are not necessary. Don't try to make up the numbers for them, but rather pick a desirable range. And I will tell you that my range consists of 3 different buckets right now. Okay, bucket number 1 is a very basic remodel where I'm going to do only the very bare minimum to get by, and I lump that bucket as a $15,000 remodel. And I have to shoot straight with you and tell you I haven't actually gotten a $15,000 remodel done in quite some time, so we're currently evaluating taking that off the schematic entirely and raising that price because materials have gone up, labor costs have gone up, etc. But you want to have 3 buckets, right? A $15,000 bucket, and this is based on what the property needs, not on what you want the numbers to be. Okay, you have to go in and go just kind of, this is a pretty moderate property. It's very cosmetic. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to floor it, etc. I expect this to cost somewhere between 15 and 20 grand. The next bucket is $20,000. Right? And I can walk in and tell you if it's not great, but it's not horrible, right? I'm usually about that $20,000 range for like 90% of my remodels. I'm right there in the middle, right about 20 grand. And then if I'm starting to see extreme cases, like the deck is bad, it needs windows, okay? The roof is shot. I'm now starting to push that 25 grand and beyond window. Right? But if you're going to look at these remodels from a 15, 20, or 25 angle, you're in a much better spot than trying to figure out for your future investor, your cash buyer, what they're going to do to this property, because some guys do all the work themselves. Right? They're the handyman type. They got a bunch of tools. They have that skill set. I do not have that skill set, but I know a lot of guys who do, and I'm impressed by that. Others are more like me. They're going to have to spend more to get the work done if they get it done. How are you to tell them a fair price? Well, let's go back to our theoretical property right now, okay? The theoretical property is we are buying it at $120,000 under contract. We're going to look at it and say it's kind of worst case scenario. It needs a lot of stuff. And if you are positioning yourself as worst case scenario with your cash buyers, even if they can get it done cheaper, you're going to find yourself with more repeat business. I like the guy that's going, hey, this is what I think you can make on it, worst case scenario. And certainly if you can do better than that, awesome, right? But you have to be in a position where you know for certain they can do better than that. So let's go worst case scenario and everything. We bought it for 120. We are going to put 25 into it, worst case scenario. And we believe, as we started, based on our analysis we did on dealhunter.io, that retail for this property is 200 grand. We have a total investment of 145, right, that we have to get. And now, Mr. and Mrs. Wholesaler, you've got to add in your wholesale fee.
Okay.
Right? So what are the numbers here? Well, generally speaking, we want to be at 70% minus repairs. You know? And if you take 70% minus repairs, you've got to go 200 grand at 70% is 140. 140 minus our repairs is 115. Right? Now, if I'm writing this a moderate rehab, then it may only be 120 and we're right on the numbers. But what I'm saying is, at this moment, I'm not trying to guess what the investor is going to do. Rather, I'm saying I believe, kind of sight unseen almost, that based on this square footage, because we're kind of theorizing all these numbers, that I'm going to spend my worst case scenario rehab at 25 grand. So I really either should be buying this at 115, that's possibility one, or I need to make a little bit less on the wholesale, right? That's possibility two. Or I need to find more retail comp to support a higher value if I do a more meaningful rehab. But what I'm saying is, as it sits right now, these numbers are only kind of adding up. But that's okay. The idea is kind of adding up, right? If you called me right now and said I got a retail price property that you can have for 125, remember we had under contract for 120,
Right.
right? We added on $5,000 for the wholesale fee, which is a very reasonable fee, right? That's actually more than real estate agents make. They make 3% of the deal, generally speaking, right? So they would make $3,600 on this deal. You've marked it up to 125, and you believe you got a $20,000 to $25,000 rehab against a $200,000 retail price. As a cash buyer, I'm doing that deal. No second thought, no reevaluation, nothing. And all in the theory that you said, I think it would have $20,000 to $25,000 remodel on this project. As opposed to trying to guess what I'm going to do to the home. Hey, listen, I haven't seen it yet. I don't even know what I'm going to do to it yet.
Right.
Right? So I'm just putting in theoretical numbers in there because if I'm putting in a high side number and I can find cheaper subcontractors to work with and get that done a little bit cheaper, then I'm in a better spot. Right? As opposed to you're aiming too high, you overcharge on the wholesale side. You want to make 15 grand on this deal because you think the remodel is only 10 grand, bro. Right? Then what's happening is you may get that deal done, but you've lost a repeat customer. Right? You've lost the guy he's now not going to buy your next deal. Right? He's going to tell other people that your deals suck. Right? He's going to post that out on Facebook. Yeah, I bought this wholesale deal from Joe Schmo Wholesaler, and I lost some money on the deal. That may not have anything to do with you. It's probably not your fault at all. But you set yourself up for a long-term failure as opposed to a long-term success. Right? And if you want to do this professionally for your career, and how long is a career now? 20 years? You go hard on this. Could you get your retirement goals done in 10 years? I believe you could. Right? If you're a good wholesaler, I look at, having Derek on the show as a top-notch wholesaler, that kid will be retired in 10 years at the rate he's on. Right? He's going to buy so much real estate and put himself in a spot, he's not going to have to work past that point if he doesn't want to. But all of it is about creating a solid clientele with repeat business by nailing your numbers, by not trying to nail your numbers.
What?
You see what I did there?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You need to be theorizing and you need to be putting worst case scenario in there. If you're presenting offers to cash buyers based on a theoretical, I think you're going to spend 20 to 25 grand, I think you're in a much better spot. And listen, your market may vary a little bit, right? I may be completely off, but you got to find out what average is. Right? If you're in San Diego, California right now, my 25 grand rehab budget is probably not going to get it done.
Yeah, not going to cut it.
If you're in New York, I'm probably completely wrong. Okay, but if you're in a moderate market, very similar to Colorado Springs or Denver market where I work out of, I think generally speaking, a $25,000 kind of average rehab budget is probably playing it safe. Denver might be a little higher, it might be pushing into 30. You may have a whole different set of buckets, so it might be 25, 30, and 35. And I do see pockets where that's the case. My point is set your pockets. Decide where you want to baseline your approximate remodel and then work your numbers around that. So when you're presenting this offer to the cash buyer, you find yourself in an accurate position where you can get good numbers on that. Okay, guys, you're building a career. This is a long haul thing. It's not a sprint. Right? This is a get there by doing good work by people and producing a business that makes them a profit so you can then in turn make a greater profit. It's thinking past your own nose. Does that make sense?
Sounds good.
All right. So with that, let's discuss buckets. If you're trying to figure out what the buckets are remodel in your area, I would love to have that discussion with you. What you need to do is head on out to the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders group. Join up there. Tell me where you're located. Let's look at some before and after comps and determine where you should be budgeting your wholesale numbers at. Generally speaking, I can tell based on square footage and level of finish, because I've been doing this a while, I can give you a pretty close approximation as to what buckets you should be using so you can find that nice average number. I may be completely off, but I doubt it. Let's talk about it at very least, see what you're thinking compared to what I'm thinking. Between the two of us, I bet we'll find you 3 buckets you can put your rehab estimates in as well, which is going to serve you for years to come in your wholesaling business. But that's our show today. We want to kind of keep this thing able and so you can get back to your day here, and hopefully you're out there sharing the message of the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I know a lot of you are. I've seen some incredible reviews on Facebook and online. I thank you guys so much for continuing to spread the message on what we're doing here. It is an honor to serve you as your Foreclosure Deals Coach. I want to get you involved though. Join up on the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders group. Check out dealhunter.io and get yourself started in your foreclosure investing career. Hey, the big guys at the hedge funds, they've already started making moves, man. You want to be a part of this movement? You got to get going right now. With that, this is Donny Corum, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.
Want more of the Foreclosure Deals Coach? Hit subscribe and stay tuned for more of the mindset, methodology, and tools you'll need to invest in foreclosures. Visit foreclosuredealscoach.com and text DEAL to get a list of foreclosures in your area.